Let's get in here, get things rolling, see how things are going. So we are showing up as live on Twitter/X, just according to plan. Yay, team. Cool. All right. So the plan for this weekend was to kind of square this area up a little bit, make it look a little less cluttered. But that got flushed out the window, or thrown out the window, I guess I should say, defenestrated, as it were, due to some things I needed to do for my family. So that got done, but I have basically been all go, no quit for every waking hour until now. So we have some cool ideas. I had some cool ideas. I should say. I guess I should stop talking about myself in the plural from the corporate standpoint. But we have some cool ideas for stuff to talk about tonight. But one of the first things I want to say is we have been doing this for a few weeks now. We've gotten some really, what I think are pretty good numbers for viewership. We're having 60, 70 people watching the streams in total between the live time and the after it's posted up time. And that's just on Twitter/X. So huge thanks there. A few other folks. We will be, as I keep saying, adding some additional platforms once I've got this monitor situation squared away and made some changes to the physical setup here so it's a little easier to work with. That's going to require some time I just don't have at the moment. I've tried. Man, have I tried. But it's one of those things where with everything that's going on, between the day job and everything else, it's just not something I'm able to get to. Now, but I do want to take and thank you all for taking your time and enjoying the stream. Thanks for all the messages and everything. Please do remember that if you're watching us live, you can go ahead and comment directly on the stream itself. And we are, of course, very glad that you're here. I keep saying we in the corporate sense. Me, my daughter, my son. We're always good to see these numbers go. And happy birthday to my youngest son. His birthday was this week, so glad for him for that. Another milestone. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting time, I think, the rest of this year as we continue to move forward and just have fun both with the weekly live stream and then also, of course, with continuing to create cool new cool new stuff. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about tonight, because we focus on when we're here, guys. When I was here, we focus on stuff that's fun and try to avoid like the meta, as it were, to play to people's angst, their anger, their fears, to farm for drama and to default to that human instinct to fixate on trouble spots. Let me get that out right now. I'll put the glasses back on when someone posts them. Oh, you know what? It would probably help if I brought the chat up. Just realized I hadn't done that. There we go. Okay. Now, some of the things we're going to talk about, well, one of the things I guess we're going to talk about tonight, in keeping with the theme of happiness and things that are positive, I wanted to talk about some of the things that I do when I have time to just decompress a little bit. I, of course, enjoy anime. We talked a little bit about that. I watch it when I can. If I am working on writing stuff for Sinopa, or if I'm cooking dinner for the family or whatever, I'll usually listen to or watch YouTube videos while I'm doing that. And so I thought tonight would be kind of fun to talk about some of my favorite YouTube channels. I do not probably do not watch as much as some people might think I do, and that's okay. But the whole I thought about with this is because I think a lot of us out there are taking a few moments and enjoying other creators who are just making really cool stuff. And so the first one I'm going to introduce you to is one that probably a lot of you really know, and this is the guys at Villain Support. I could probably make that a little bit bigger, maybe a little bigger. There we go. So Chris and Levi, these guys are pretty cool. One thing that I find really neat is just the creativity that they show and the way they integrate the script ideas. They come into these continuing narratives, so you get these short little video clips that, in and of themselves, are funny on their own, but then they build into bigger storylines that are really just a lot of fun, playing on pop culture references, playing to a variety of different characters and universes, and putting their own unique twist with the themes behind it of the customer support angles and then the strange things that you'll experience from those. Now, I've had the good fortune to speak with these creators a couple of times. I'm hoping to speak with them again. They have some plans in the work that I hope that we'll get to help them with in a consultation kind of capacity. But you'll also notice that if you're watching the portions when Levi's on there, you'll notice that he has a lot of art in the background. Several of those come from us that we sent to him and Chris. So hoping that they're enjoying it. If you haven't checked them out, make sure you find Villain Support. They are on YouTube. They are on, what else are they on? They're on Instagram, and they are on, what else are they on? YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Okay. I myself am not on TikTok, so it took me a moment to come to it with that. But these guys are fantastic, highly recommended, really fantastic showmen, and just genuinely good folks to hang out with. So if you're looking for some fun, a little bit of a laugh, definitely come in. Some of their videos are longer than others. You'll see live streams that they do periodically. They're also just a great deal of fun. Get some behind the scenes information, and don't forget to check out the various means of support that they have. If you haven't checked them out before, one of the latest ones they're doing is John Wick versus Chuck Norris. Absolutely freaking hilarious, and you can also get their merch attached to their videos. Really great guys. Definitely swing by, give them some support. Tell them the Sinopa Publishing guys sent you, because just let them know we're looking out for them a little bit. Okay. All right. So let me figure out how we stop sharing. Oh man. Don't want to do that. Like I said, not a very adept streamer yet. But there we go. So we'll stop sharing that one. Let me go get one of the other ones we're going to look at. All right, cool deal. What a lot of you guys don't know is that when I was right out of high school, my initial fields of studies were physics, mathematics, engineering. I was aspiring to be an aerospace engineer. Unfortunately, I just didn't quite accomplish that goal. So, even without that, I still have a great love of all things science. I think that the study of nature and how things are and what they really are is important for us. It's how we advance as a society technologically. It helps to enhance our overall knowledge of the universe, and it satiates our curiosity and then gives rise to even more curiosity. Every answer we find seems to generate more questions for us to pursue an answer to. And so one of the things that I am fond of are science YouTubers, people who comment to that, or who, I guess in this instance, someone who primarily looks at science. Every once in a while, he strays off of scientific topics, but not very often. And by that I mean sometimes it's more like, hey, um, what's a good one? Like Lost Media is a good one he's done. A few others. Let me get this shared over so you guys can see who I'm talking about. And that is Joe Scott of Answers with Joe fame. Now, this was actually the second or third YouTube channel I ever actually subscribed to. He's see if I can get this blown up a little bit. Yay, my whole list is showing. That's great. Here we go. The science content that he provides, talking about new scientific discoveries, talking about things in history, things that are anomalies, such as different relics that have come up, talking about a whole just incredible array of things based on facts, and about, in some cases, about aspirations for the future, or what aspirations for the future were in the past. And so science, this thing right here, all the science things happened in 2024. Fantastic video, absolutely terrific. And then one of my favorite videos he's done, which has not gotten as much eyes on it as it should, is that space is way scarier than you think. This is an absolutely fantastic video. It's 20 minutes long. So if you've got 20 minutes and you want to hear, see, and just experience a really fantastic piece of content, definitely take a look at Joe Scott's whole channel. This is a great place if you want to start off with a bang and really, really, really get into it. But that's not all. He's been creating for years and years and years and years and years. And there is so much here. Like last year when he was talking about AR goggles on this, absolutely terrific. And what's another one that was just really, really fantastic? The new bee problem. That was a fantastic video. Absolutely, really love that one. Some of his stuff about ancient relics that we are not sure what they were used for, and then some things that he had come up with, excuse me, about little known facts that might surprise you. And one of the things about that is his video here a couple of years ago about glitter. This has almost 1 million views on it, and for good reason. This was a really cool video. Definitely check it out. Again, guys, it's Answers with Joe. This is a really I'm not even going to say it's a guilty pleasure. It's just something I genuinely enjoy. Usually every Monday. He had a little bit of a lapse on that for a bit, but usually every Monday you get something new. Answers with Joe Scott, just absolutely fantastic. Definitely, guys, give him a look, check it out, and enjoy some fantastic content. He does a lot of ads, not a lot of ads per video, but ads for stuff with the site Brilliant, which he's one of the contributors on. Definitely worth a look as well, but I'm not going to run an ad for Brilliant, so there you go. And again, everyone, if you have any comments, any questions, any criticisms or concerns, please do feel free to post them in the comments. I am going to try and stay out of DMs tonight, so that will be, I think, better for everybody. All right, Joe Scott, absolutely fantastic. Now, I make comics and role-playing game books. There's a lot of different creators in that vein. One I want to talk to you about for a moment, and this is probably going to seem controversial to some folks who are in the indie comic scene, But guys, honestly, you're gonna have to stay with me on this one. And of course, what I'm talking about here is the man, the myth, the legend, comics by Perch. So Perch talks a lot about the impact that comics has on and has had on himself. It talks a lot about different things going on in the comics industry and also in the manga industry to some extent. He talks a lot about the business aspect of it as well, and sheds a lot of light on things that I think many people are just not aware of with regards to comic books as a business. And you know what? I just realized I hadn't checked the sound. Hold on one second, guys. All these great things that happen. Okay. Looks like we're A-OK on sound. All right. So we do have a message. I was hoping to stay out of these, but it's the only thing that we've got so far. Okay. Thanks, Jacob. Appreciate you, man. Okay. Comics by Perch. So, really good look into actual data itself. So he'll look at available information for particular books. Now, granted, with Diamond being gone, that data is pretty much non-existent now. But I think some of the old videos are really important if you're trying to look at what was going on leading up to the current debacle with the collapse of Diamond as the main distributor in North America. And also just a reality check, I think, in a lot of ways about what comics are, what they really could be, or and some people would say should be, and just a lot of commentary on, I think, some things that people really should consider with regard to improving the condition of the comic book industry. Now, one of the things he very often talks about is paying artists more so that you have artists who are one able to work as artists and thrive from that, which I absolutely agree with, and writers too, for that matter. The other thing too, though, is to put them on for longer runs and really lean into using those talents. And I think in a lot of places we see comics that could be done better. Maybe things got rushed with deadlines, and I gotta tell you, I understand to some extent how that happens. I know I don't make as many comics as any company that releases on a monthly basis, but from the what have we released? I think we've released 10 issues over the last 6 years or something. Not very many, but for the time frame. But we're going to scale up eventually. But the thing that comes to mind for me, and my particular aspirations, is to get to a point where we have the capital to get books done and done very, very well before we start bringing them out to market. Now, I understand the risk of tying up so much capital that way. Believe me, as a indie creator who does a lot of crowdfunding, you learn the hard way about that if you haven't considered it. But Perch, I think, comes a long way with his channel in trying to bring people a glimpse of the reality of the business how it is. So if you are a comic book fan, certainly check out Comics by Perch. If you're a comic book creator and fan, check out Comics by Perch. If you're not into comics, this is probably not your channel, in my opinion. But the dude is pretty interesting. He basically records just an audio track from his car, and or whenever he's out and about or in a hotel or whatever he's doing, just records a little audio track of his train of thought, and that's the video. And so you get this direct little fountain of data from his thought processes, which I think is kind of cool. And I say that now I realize that that's kind of the what you guys are getting here too, just kind of the mental vomit from my mind. So I'll try to be better about getting like talking points and making sure I keep putting up the little post-it notes around my monitor so I can remember to hit the key points I want to. But yeah, definitely check out Comics by Perch. Fantastic work on that. All right. It's weird for me to try and be sharing stuff like this because I want to make sure that I'm not stepping on any toes. So I'm not going to play any videos. I'm not going to give anyone criticisms because God knows I don't have the right to. Especially some of these guys who've been doing this so long and been doing so well. But yeah, let's go ahead and get to our next one. Now this is another channel I really enjoy. The video format's longer, so I usually get to see maybe one or two videos a month when I have the time to. Very popular content creator, and that is, of course, the Fat Electrician. So I happened upon this channel by accident when I was just looking for something for a video regarding how to put this. I was looking for a particular military video, okay? Because I had suspected that someone I knew was in the combat footage, and went through searching that, and then I happened upon content from the Fat Electrician. And the wild thing about it is I saw what I believe his most well-regarded, well-known video, which is the America obliterates half of Iran's navy in 8 hours. And of course, the thing about this is Operation Praying Mantis. This happened while I was a kid, and it's one of those things where I remember this happening. Obviously, at the time, you didn't have a lot of gun cam footage, and you didn't have the internet sharing stuff around, and you had the news that would share little bits and pieces in the newspaper. Remember those? But the one thing I did have is that I had a friend at school, and his older brother was in the Navy and participated in this operation. And he had some really interesting color commentary about it. And he one of the things that he's told us, this was probably 2 years after it because he was out at that point. I think he only did 6 years in the Navy or 8 years in the Navy, something like that. But 2 years after Praying Mantis, or 2.5, somewhere in there, he was talking about it, and he made the comment that it was that being in that operation was kind of weird because everyone's expecting, when everyone found out that people they're shooting and there's missiles and everything, everyone had this expectation of what battle was going to be like. And for him, he's like, it wasn't really like that. He's like, we found this target, and I pushed a button and they exploded. I was like, okay. So I'm not sure whether he was manning a gun or some type of missile system or what his thing was. But he was in some kind of weapons MOS. And I just thought that was kind of neat. But yeah, the Fat Electrician covers a lot of history about military operations, things about the U.S. Civil War, Revolutionary War, First World War, Second World War, Spanish-American War, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Desert Storm, the Afghan and Iraq wars, and all kinds of things regarding different military equipment. He's a very prolific creator, regardless of how he presents himself. There's one thing I really respect about it is that he's very, very articulate. Now, that might be due to really talented editing, or it might just be that he's a much better public speaker than I am, because he avoids a lot of the uhs, ohs, dead space that I habitually include in mine that I'm desperately trying so hard to get past. Really well spoken, very engaging content. If you have not uh, see, there, just like that. If you have not seen the work from the Fat Electrician or the Fat Files, definitely check that out. I really recommend America Obliterates Half of Iran's Navy in 8 hours, the Operation Praying Mantis video. 8.1 million views in 2 years. And yes, I know that there are videos on the internet that on YouTube that have 100 million views or whatever, but this guy did a bang up job on this. Definitely check him out. Um, really, really well worth the effort. The Fat Electrician, guys. And this video, this live stream is gonna make it seem like I watch way more YouTube than I do. Um, a lot of the folks I watch really have kind of short form, like 10-minute videos or whatnot. So we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna skip some of the guys that everyone's heard about. Like we're not gonna talk about like Asmongold, although I enjoy his content. We're not going to talk about Nux Taku. I think Nux is very funny. Avoid a lot of the political commentary from any YouTuber, really, but some of Nux stuff is just hysterical. He's done a lot of stuff with looking at some AI movies that people have made that put him in there. That's hilarious. Rev says Desu, really funny dude as well. The one thing we are going to look at is one of my all-time favorite anime and manga YouTubers, Chibi Reviews. I first found his channel during the pandemic, and I really appreciate a lot of the commentary that he has on different anime. Now, he and I have some different tastes in anime, certainly. Um, But one of the other things that I found that I really appreciate about his efforts, and I thought I had that shared and I did not. So let me make sure we get this in here. And I think I like this version better. We'll use this. Chibi Reviews, guys. So with this, he's put together just years and years and years and years. I think he's been on here something like 10 years or something. Let's check that out. We'll test that theory. Longer. He's been on here longer than 10 years. The dude has almost 250 million views in that time and about just short of 500,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subbed to him yet, go ahead and give him a sub. If you're an anime fan, check it out. Anyway, one of the things I was saying is very recently, over the last year or so, he's been calling a lot of attention to problems with censorship of manga, of anime, of domestic content, of payment processors, overstepping themselves to try and control what can and cannot be monetized on the internet. Now, for me, myself, let's go ahead and give myself a little more room here. For me, myself, I am basically, to put it in the shortest form as possible, I'm not a fan of censorship. Now, if it is something that is illegal, then by all means. And when I say something that's illegal, I mean something that is, an actual crime. An actual crime should not be something that you are then monetizing, right? So you don't want people, for example, man, that's an extreme example, but we'll use it. You don't want people monetizing and exploiting children, right? I don't want to get any type of ban from that, but I think a lot of you get where I'm going with this. But by the same token, if someone's talking about like a drawing or an animation, and it's depicting like not in like sexual content, but they're doing like what's a good example of this? In the Bugs Bunny cartoons, there was a gangster who was this little tiny fella, and he would dress up as a baby, right? And it was funny because it was a funny gag. And when people weren't looking, he'd smoke and he'd shoot and he'd play cards and stuff like that. And so I think that can be very, very funny. And I don't think that censorship just saying, hey, you can't depict children in videos, because I think that's overly broad. I think if you're trying to say like do things like the Muppet Show or Fraggle Rock, and you have small children who are learning to play like kickball or t-ball, or they're learning how to use the monkey bars or stuff like that, I think that's entirely fine. Obviously, if they're real people with consent, and if it's animation, that's just fine. Now there's a lot of content on the internet that you've got to be really careful about avoiding. I think we're all adults here and we understand that. But the censorship angle that is come out now is that you have companies that are saying, "Hey, we don't like the fact that this content creator drew a 20-year-old woman, and she looks like she's young, like in her late teens or something, and it's a sexualized image." Well, if in the context of the story, and she's just a petite 20-year-old, I don't see the problem with that. We have seen throughout my entire life, we've seen efforts by people to censor expression in the arts and speech. We saw it with the Satanic Panic. We saw it with Tipper Gore and her hate boner for music. Just ask the Beastie Boys. I mean, it's been a recurring theme over the last 50 years. Uh, the thing I'll say about Chibi is he continues to ring the bell loud and clear over censorship laws and policies from payment vendors to draw attention to what's going on, as well as providing quality content for anime and manga. He's actually put some videos on that have led me to check out some anime that I really, really enjoyed. So definitely worth the look. And to be perfectly honest, one of the reasons that I started looking at and watching My Hero Academia was because of content that Chibi had put up on about it, because I was aware of it, but I hadn't really checked it out yet. And so that was one of the things that drew me. And then when I felt that was safe for my kids, and they got to watch it and they've enjoyed it. So hats off to the Chibi Reviews channel for helping spread cool anime, not just to adults, but the stuff that's child safe to that adults reviewing can also be enjoyed by their children, and that's always pretty cool. At least I think so. Now he is a little bit of I don't want to say he's a scandalous character, because he's really not. But some people really come down on him and just say the most ridiculous things. So you'll see some folks out there trying to drama farm on Chibi. Uh, I haven't seen anything that lends any credence to any of those assertions. So just be aware that you might see some ridiculous nonsense posting there. People have doxed him in the past. People have posted malicious content threatening him physically and his family. People have actually visited the graves of his family members. Some really excessive parasocial bullshit. So just be aware of that too, because there can be a little bit of content where people are just posting absolute nonsense about him. So just be aware. But he's really a very entertaining fellow. Lots of fun to watch. Definitely recommended. Spent a lot of time on Chibi. Sorry about that, man. All right. We are burning through the content today. We're already at 35 minutes. hats off to our couple of viewers between um, X and YouTube. Good to see you guys. Thanks for being here. Our next channel I want to talk about, and so for those of you who are joining us a little late, what we're talking about, and again in our continuing theme of bringing happiness and enjoying our time together, I'm just sharing some of the YouTubers and other streamers and such content creators that I enjoy. As always, if you have any questions or comments, post them in the chat. We've had a couple of DMs as well, but I am trying to focus in the chat itself. So there's actually a way to see. We don't have anything in the chat yet. Everything so far has been by DMs. So looking forward to some interaction, guys. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. The next folks that we're talking about, and this is one that I can guarantee some people are going to kind of go cross-eyed over, are the folks over at Clownfish TV. Now, Clownfish, let me get this right. Here we go. The Clownfish folks, they talk a lot about a variety of different pop culture stuff. They tend to go way hard in the paint on Disney. That's cool. But they also talk about the tabletop role-playing and board game industries. They talk about comics sometimes, but comics hasn't gotten a lot of attention on this channel lately, and there's probably some very good reasons for that, given everything that's going on. They talk about a lot of the drama that goes on between various personalities and companies, problems at Twitch, problems with different movies, their opinions and critiques on different movies. So I don't want I want to make this clear. I'm not saying that they go out and just crap on things, so they don't. They give some honest critiques and some honest praise where it's needed. There are some things that they just don't like all of us, and they'll give you an honest opinion on that without just dumping a bunch of grief on there. I actually became aware of this channel kind of by accident. I was on a live stream with some other comic book creators, and they were talking about some thing that was going on at the time on Indiegogo, and this was like 2020, 2021. And one of the things that had happened is there was a video from Clownfish about it, and so we watched through that. I thought it was pretty entertaining, and I went out and followed them, and I've been enjoying Clownfish videos since. Now, they come out with content constantly. I'm not going to lie and say I watch everything, because you can see here I very clearly don't. But there's things that they report on that I think is pretty interesting, like Ice Cube's bus getting firebombed in Portland. I thought that was kind of an interesting thing. This was on a live stream about 3 weeks ago. The different videos they put together with this duo are really kind of neat. The content one yesterday, that would have been October 18th, about GoFundMe putting up campaigns for nonprofits that the nonprofits didn't ask for. That's a really interesting video. Highly recommend that. And one of the things too is, like, as you can tell, they've used some generative AI for some of their thumbnails. I kind of took that and ran with it myself when I do some thumbnails, because I can't draw. And if I had to draw for every thumbnail, I would never get never get videos or anything done. But yeah, they're very interesting. There are some things that they go over that I'm not that interested in, but their takes on tabletop, on video games, on board games, role-playing games, and the content they do on comics and such is pretty neat. And they've also created comics. They'd worked in the comic book industry. Neon had, from what I understand, from what they say on their channel. So that's been a lot of fun, something I've really enjoyed, and good to see people who have been in the industry and who are making their own content and having success with it. Definitely check them out, folks. They are a hoot. Really recommend Clownfish TV. You can find them on YouTube, and they have a website as well. I am not directly familiar with it. I haven't been there. I just use them. You usually catch them on YouTube. All right. This one's I'm going to talk about a buddy of mine as soon as I can find his channel. And you guys will see me on this channel or have seen me on this channel quite a bit over the years. And that's my buddy Larry Patrick Higgins of Niobe fame. Hold it, Larry's live.
Round 3.
So Larry is
Fight.
apparently Larry is doing video game soon, so that's kind of cool. I might have to do that sometime. I don't know. But Larry, of course, is the creator of the comic book Niobe, which is a really fun superhero comic about a character who has teleportation abilities. And not such a simple ability as just being able to go from one spot to the other. There's a lot that goes into that. He's built an entire world. The power system is pretty interesting. And the underlying theme that up until the current timeline, the only people who had powers were females, I think is an interesting take on it. If you're a big fan of bad girl books, this is probably not as bad girl-esque as you would think. This is really more along the lines of an X-Men, well, not a current day X-Men, but more along the lines of an 1980s era X-Men stories. He's got several different story arcs that he's already created comics on and put them out. He's been doing this about 10 years. He and I are very often on streams together, but I really do enjoy his channel. So if I'm doing laundry or cooking or cleaning or something, one of the YouTube channels that I'll have in the background is probably going to be Larry's if he's live, or I'll have villain support or whatever. Good content and someone who fulfills every single one of his crowdfunding campaigns. Got to respect that. So definitely check him out if you haven't before. He he's a character. I'll give him that.
Sweep the leg, Mr. Lawrence.
Larry, if you're seeing this, man, hope you're having a good time.
Fight.
All right. Let's go grab another buddy of mine. Now, this one, and I'm going to tell you this too, I've been on his show a couple times as well. This is our buddy Fatal J. Now, is there a way for me to make that bigger, I wonder? I don't know. So he's going to talk about a whole variety of different comic and comic-related topics. He's put together some really cool videos, and I'm glad this came up because this is one I was going to look for. The History of Kamen Rider, 1971 to 2024. This is a really strong video. Him getting only 2,200 views is not reflective of the quality. This is really, really nice. His Super Sentai Transformations video, 1975 to 2022, 10K views. These all should have a couple of extra zeros on them, guys. So if you haven't seen them yet, definitely come out. This is a man who is working sincerely and with a lot of love in his content creation. He's been nothing but kind to me. He's been, a really, really fantastic person to know. And he's been really good to the people he's interviewed when he does interviews. And he's had a lot of folks. He's had Wes from Thinking Critical on here. My good friend Nick Capone has been on there. I've been on there. Actually, there I am right there, 84 views. Guys, let's put a 0 on the end of that. Let's see if we can get him some YouTube revenue, okay? He was nothing but kind to me. Really good dude. A lot of fun here with it. If you are a shorts fan, I kind of would recommend anything he does with the Super Sentai stuff or the Ultraman stuff. Really, really fun. And then what was the other one he did? I think it was the Superman. Yeah, the Superman stuff. Definitely check out when he's talking about like the Superman content for the movies and such. Jay is just such a joy and a genuinely good dude. So enjoy that. And yeah, I think aside from that, I don't think there's much more we can add to it. The guy's just genuinely a genuine good person and a lot of fun to watch. All right. Now, let me go find. I talked about my friend Tyler with Draw and Talk, but I think he's kind of busy at the moment. So we'll talk about him another time. And he's got a bigger channel, so we'll let him hang for a minute. All right, here it is. So the other anime content creator I watch is the channel AH Brandon Reviews. Now, this dude, this dude is fantastic. He really is. He just has a very casual, honest presentation, right? He tells you what he's thinking about. He does some live reaction content on Patreon, which is really fun. So definitely, if you're able to sub up for Patreon, this is one of the few Patreons I actually would recommend to somebody. I do not know this guy. I've never communicated with him. I don't think I've ever communicated with him, but just really fun videos. Now, of course, right now the season's gonna have a lot of stuff about One Punch Man. It's gonna have a lot of stuff about Banished Court Magician. What's the other one he's working on right now? Spy Family and A Wild Last Boss. I would really like to. Oh, he does. I was about to say I would like to see him do some stuff for My Hero Academia, but apparently he did yesterday, and I just haven't got to it yet. Well, I know what I'm watching after I finish here. But yeah, AH Brandon Reviews for anime content, right alongside with Chibi Reviews. The dude is just really good at what he does. Fantastic creator who's just casual and relatable, which is a really kind of cool thing. So if you are into anime, he is, from my understanding, he's not. I don't think I've ever seen him do a manga review. I don't think he actually reads the manga. I think he always waits for the anime. At least that's the impression I get. But definitely, dude's got this attitude, kind of like someone who's just really strong in the camera enough that it feels like you're almost in the same room talking to somebody about anime. He just has that kind of presence, which I think is remarkable. I wish I could pull that off. If it's a learned skill, hopefully we'll get there eventually. But I don't know, man. I don't know. He's just a really fantastic creator. Definitely check out AH Brandon Reviews. His content actually too, and we'll call some attention to this. His stuff on Spy Family, really good throughout the seasons. Some of the other stuff that he's covered over the couple of years I've been watching him, when he's talked about like what's a good example? Let me get back here. One that I've actually watched because he had one that I've watched because he actually recommended it. That's probably a good place to start. Is Dan to Dan. I had never actually had anything to do with Dan to Dan. I know that Chibi Reviews had said something about it. I actually he was talking about some stuff about it when it was getting ready to come out, and when he did his review of the first episode, that was like, yeah, okay, I'm definitely going to see that. And then the other thing too he reviewed was the Undead Adventurer, I think it's called. I'll have to look. That's a really fun anime as well, and Skeletal Knight. So Skeletal Knight I would not have watched except for Brandon Reviews analysis of the first couple of episodes of it, and I really truly enjoyed that. So thanks to him, I didn't miss out on that. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, definitely check him out, guys. If you're an anime fan, it's the way to go. And now I seem like I watch way more anime than is healthy, but I probably do. Cool deal. So we're deep into tonight's live stream. We've got about 10 minutes left. I want to thank all of you who have watched this far there's a few things I want to talk about here at the end of the video, so that people who got this far kind of get the lowdown, the big scoop. So I'm actually really enjoying making these weekly live streams. I've had some really fun interactions so far, and I'm going to keep doing them. And I hope you'll keep enjoying them. If you have any recommendations, any tips or tricks, or any other type of recommendations, by all means, come on out there. I hope that the folks that I have referred you to today don't mind me making those recommendations. I did not script any of these. I just wanted to speak out of the top of my head about everything and just be as open and honest as I can. But yeah, I hope that if you're an anime fan that you do check out Brandon Reviews, Chibi Reviews. If you are a science nerd like me, Joe Scott, definitely. If you want to laugh, Villain Support is going to be all over it. If you're curious about history regarding warfare and military history, The Fat Electrician, absolutely fantastic. I'm going to stress this again, back to Villain Support. Guys are hilarious. Definitely check them out. For comics, Niobe, Fatal J, and though we didn't get to him tonight, I can't go without saying, definitely also check out everyone's favorite Tyler Carpenter of Draw and Talk. Let me go ahead and pull that up real quick before we. Tyler's been nothing but good to me, certainly, but I genuinely enjoy Tyler's approach to look at the analysis of the intersection between art and business. And this is one thing I think a lot of creators miss, is that they get their creation done and then they fail to monetize it. Folks, when you put in hundreds and hundreds of hours creating your novel, creating your role-playing game book, creating your comic book, unless you're completely financial stable and just don't care about the money, I think that monetizing your work is important. One of the things it does is it gets people talking about it and gets other people buying it and reading it. If you're financially secure, you can just make it free if you want and put it out there, certainly. But if you're not financially secure, if you're burning the hours of your life in the creation of your art and exercising your passion, then monetizing your work can be an important way to reward you. Really stroke is the wrong word, really stoke the fires of your creative engine, and help you to keep creating by helping your creations to pay for things like food or rent or medicine if you need it. Things like that are important. So definitely keep that in mind. Draw and Talk also, they do a lot of Tyler does a lot of videos over the course of just doing live streams and drawing while he does it, talking about the different titles he's creating, sharing his experience with getting things fulfilled with production. He used to have people come on and talk with him about that. Not so much anymore. He's a very, very busy man, but he is also very, very knowledgeable about what it takes to be a creator, and has proven time and time again that not only can he get his books made, but get them in the hands of his audience by fulfilling his crowdfunding campaigns, by making them available on his website. If you are an artist and you are looking to monetize your work, folks, whether it's comics or portrait or anything like that, come to the Draw and Talk channel, look at his videos where he's talking about monetizing your work, how it is to really make that happen. He also talks a lot about building your audience in some of his live streams and videos. He's also talked a lot about different funnel concepts, about how to put people in front of your merch and things like that, so that you can actually get to ship cool stuff to folks. I will tell you from my personal experience. Let me go ahead and stop talking about Tyler for a second. that when you are shipping stuff to folks who like your work, whether it's your comic, your novel, your role-playing game book, or art prints or whatever, there is a great satisfaction in knowing that folks are going to be enjoying that work in the real world. I actually handed some art prints to a new fan yesterday. Completely spontaneous kind of interaction on the streets, and it turns out he's an aspiring author and a teacher, and so um, some of the work that we've done is now in front of him, and so I look forward to answering some questions to help him and him going forward with some of his work. There is a lot to the art and creative process with regard to monetization. For a lot of people, they just want to, hey, I'll ghostwrite for this guy and he'll pay me and that'll be it. Or I'll, draw the comic and they'll pay me and then that'll be it or whatever. Or, I'll make my comic, I'll get, the crowdfunding done and then I'll make another one and I'll, make a couple $100 or no. Guys, make your work for you. So we're running a little tight on time, but let me get to the point on this. And I'm going to cheat. I'm going to pull up the primary market I have online, the one that I really actually maintain presently is the Sonoma Publishing Store on drive-through RPG, drive-through comics, drive-through fiction. So this is the Sonoma Publishing page. We have made a lot of stuff over the past 8 years. A lot of stuff. And the fun part about this, folks, is that on drive-through, both the drive-through RPG and the drive-through comics page and everything, these products continue to sell. In Steel Road, we have a couple different versions of that. The fun part is 6 ratings and then 3 more here. For those of you who know, very few people actually give your products ratings, right? So you have this thing where you'll have 9 people giving it ratings, but 500 people who've bought the book or whatever the final number is. So it's definitely an interesting thing to go. It always strikes me as wild. The thing too that this has done for me is that it continues to motivate me because every month we're making money on our projects that we've done in the past. So let's see what's selling right now. Reign of Ages, it looks like, has been the one that's selling here lately. I'm not going to get into my metrics because it has information about things like the people who are getting paid royalties and such like that. I don't want to dox any of that information. There's nothing that's going to reveal their location or anything. It's just that I don't want to reveal information that they haven't consented to. But yeah, right now our hot titles here are Reign of Ages, 47 Furious Tales, which always sells like mad. One of our posters is selling a lot. That's interesting. I didn't know that. The map packs to the adventures. Wow, we sold some more art prints, more art posters. That's neat. And then Dungeons and Dames. Now, what's nice about Dungeons and Dames, this is from 2021. Every time people buy this, it kicks out royalties to all of the participating artists. We did that during the pandemic to try and get some more money to folks, and it worked pretty well. It's wild that we're getting some posters sold. These are kind of, to me, they're a little bit of a weird size. They're 12 by 18. The art prints that we sell directly ourselves are 11 by 17 on a really heavy cardstock. These are poster paper. So where these are getting like $2, whereas the art prints that we do on the heavy cardstock are like 10 to 15. Necroholic art comics are definitely selling a lot right now, and this is, like I said, the hottest titles in the section. And this is a fun one. We did this in 2018. It was the second year that we would be into the second year that we were in operation, and myself and Zach Viola decided that we were going to do a holiday themed project and just basically split everything. Well, we did not reach the funding goal to get the book printed. So what we ended up doing was we went and fulfilled the digital for all of the backers for that Christmas, even though we didn't get paid because we didn't get it. And then I went in the back and we assigned, I think, all but like 5% of the royalties for this are actually going to, well, there's 35% going to the platform. And I think I've got 5% and I sent the rest of them to Zach or somewhere around there. So this is a really fun book. If you want something that is kind of a holiday themed in a way, it's basically, equipment, 25 holiday themed magic items, right? It's really a fun little title. And every time that people pick this up, it benefits the artist immensely. Zach was absolutely fantastic on this. And I need to update it because for one reason or the other, it's not showing him on the title. We'll need to fix that. I'm glad I looked at that. All right. Wow. That was an hour and went by really, really fast. So looks like we've got four or five. Not a lot of people tonight, but that's okay. It's been a busy day. Let me finish this too because I got sidetracked by the Santa Dragon Claws. One of the reasons I was bringing this up is that monetizing your products, these items have all been crowdfunded, right? All of these titles, all of these books have been crowdfunded. And we are continuing to earn revenue from these titles really every month. It usually is enough to pay, well, my royalties on these are usually enough to pay my gas bill every month. Sometimes my gas bill and my phone bill, sometimes more. And so you're talking about usually like 50, 70, sometimes $100 something a month, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's just like your digital sales on this. The print on demand sales, those are a little different. I don't see a lot of print on demand sales on this platform anymore. Do see a ton of digital. So definitely worth looking into. If you're a comic book creator, Drive Through Comics. If you're a TTRPG creator, Drive Through RPG, certainly. If you're a writer, there is Drive Through Fiction. And I highly, highly recommend that for people who are writing. It is definitely worth your time to go ahead and put your content on there and monetize your work. And there's something about that just kind of hits a little different when your book has been selling for a while and you look and you're like, hey, someone's left a review. And it's like just the coolest thing in the world. And even if it's a review that says, hey, I found a typo on page 4 and it kind of ruined the immersion for me. Well, that tells you to fix the typo on page 4, right? So there's a lot that comes from monetizing your work. And you can do that in today's age far easier than you ever could in the past. So take advantage of that, make enough money to help out your financial situation wherever you are, and enjoy it, because these pages will continue to live on. People will continue to enjoy your work, and you can leave that behind for your family, and that's what I'm doing with Sinopo. All right, so we're a little over an hour. I went on and on and on and on. Sorry about that, guys. This today's session was a little rough around the edges, I know. I had planned to sit back and draft out more detailed notes, but instead it's like, hey, let's talk about our YouTubers that we watch and let's talk about monetizing stuff on the back end. And that's about as far as I got before it was time to get out of here. So I hope you guys will excuse me for that one. I do hope you'll see us next week, Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we're here, usually talking about an hour. And wherever you are, please make sure that you are getting enough sleep. You're taking good care of yourself. Drink plenty of water. Eat healthy as best you can. Take the medications if you need any. And remember, in a world where you can choose to be anything, please do choose to be kind. As always, your comments, questions, criticisms, and concerns are welcome. And please do share this far and wide so people can see me babble and bumble and work my way through today's video, today's live stream, a little bit clumsily, but nevertheless sincerely. Thank you all very much. Have a wonderful night.